So much for me today. My name is Heidi McIndoe, and I am a registered dietitian. So I've been doing a lot of these sort of Zoom cooking classes these days, and it's been lots of fun. Hold on, there we go. All right. So today we're doing something a little different. This is a new class all about yogurt. So we all know what yogurt is. We all eat, or many of us eat yogurt. Some of us don't like it. But we're used to eating yogurt maybe for breakfast, maybe for a snack, maybe we make a little parfait out of it. But we are going to be doing two very different things with yogurt today. One is sort of the same flavors of what we're used to with yogurt. One is really, really totally different. So the first one I'm going to do is actually a Greek yogurt bark. So we're used to bark being, very decadent, melted chocolate, maybe nuts and drizzles and all kinds of things, yummy yummies. Well, today we're going to make it with Greek yogurt. So we are going to start with, I'm going to move my strawberries, and you can do, the base of this is a plain Greek yogurt. And then we're going to just zhuzh it up with things. So by using a plain, this is plain, it's actually a whole milk yogurt. Both recipes today use the whole milk yogurt. It just works better in the recipes. And by using the plain Greek yogurt, we are getting all the benefits of yogurt, all the calcium, all the protein, but we're not getting any added sugar. So it's a great option. And just so you know, I do have the chat open. So if you guys have any questions or comments as we're going along, just pop them right into the chat. I don't have access to the Q&A. So if you put anything in the Q&A, I cannot see it. But like I said, the chat is where I'm at. So didn't even mean to rhyme, and I did. So we're going to start with, so I'm actually using a smaller pan than the recipe calls for today, only because I'm using my two big pans for the next recipe. So I'm cutting this down a bit. But for the normal recipe, basically you're going to take a rimmed, 10 by 15 baking sheet and line it with parchment. That is step one. Then we're going to take 1.5 cups of the plain whole milk Greek yogurt. Oh, well, that was, oh no, okay. I was making a mistake. All right. And to that, we are going to add our own sweetener. We're not going to let them control how much sweetener we're putting in. You can totally leave this out. But again, this is a bark. It's going to be a little bit of a sweet treat. So we are going to add 2 tablespoons of, this is just pure maple syrup. You could also use honey. All right. 1 and a dash more, and a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. So that is our flavorings. That's it. You could do other flavored extracts if you want. You could use raspberry, strawberry, lemon, chocolate, banana. There's so many options when it comes to extracts. Orange. And we're just going to combine it. Super, super easy. Nothing complicated here at all. Got my sheet ready. Oh, it smells so good with the maple and the vanilla. And has anyone ever had yogurt bark before? All right. So we just mix it up, mix it up. Super easy. We just combined it all together. Now, like I said, I have a slightly smaller pan than the recipe calls for, so I used a little bit less ingredients. Oh, great. Yeah, it's really fun. I will say, so there's a couple of ways to do this. You're basically at the mercy of your pan. If you make it super thin, it almost melts too quickly when you're trying to eat it. You pick it up and it melts in your hands. If you make it too thick, it's like a brick trying to bite into. So you want to sort of spread it so that it is not too thin, not too thick. Yes, 1.5 cups of yogurt is for the 10 by 15 pan. So I have used a little bit less of everything here today. And we're just spreading this out. And you could use flavored yogurt as well. But like I said, I prefer to use the plain yogurt. Like I said, no added sugar, add a little bit of sweetener myself to like control that. Because if you got a flavored yogurt, there's going to be roughly the same amount of sugar in, each serving, maybe in 1/2 cup as we're putting in this whole recipe. All right. And then we are going to flavor this with our toppings. Another reason why it's fine to use plain yogurt. All right. So it's nice and so you can't see that at all, can you? With the glare. Hold on. Let's see. Is that any better? There's not much. There we go. So it's not too thin, not too thick. And when you're ready to eat it, again, assuming you did not make it too thick, you can just take it out of the freezer and eat it. And we will be freezing it. That's how we make bark. And for the full recipe, we want about 3/4 of a cup of sliced strawberries or any berries. I'm not big on the sliced. I prefer to sort of dice them. I just think they work better. They sprinkle better. They spread out better. So you could do raspberries, blueberries. Bananas would brown a little, so I wouldn't do the bananas. Peaches, again, not really a thing for apples, but any berries would probably be ideal. Mixed berries, you could do a combination of berries. So the possibilities are endless. And again, I mean, imagine you could do, I'm thinking like a peach melba. So you could do like a raspberry extract in the pudding and then dice up peaches, or use a peach extract, if there is such a thing. I've not seen that one. Use a peach extract and sprinkle it with raspberries. We're almost done. Like I said, you can slice them. The recipe says slice, and one of those things, I never bother changing in the recipe. I just do it the way I want to do it. But I just think little chunks just tend to sprinkle better than slices. Oops, didn't even slice that. Okay, so now we take our berries and we're just sprinkling them on here. So in traditional bark, we have our layer of chocolate, whether it's white or dark or milk, and people sprinkle nuts on. You could put nuts on this if you want as well. Sometimes people put little candies, maybe M&Ms, things like that. And then, now for a little bit of fun, we are going to add about 2 tablespoons of mini chocolate chips. Tablespoon. All right, and we're just, again, we want to get a little chocolate. Again, this is a treat. This is a healthier treat. It's going to be a nice sweet treat, but it's not going to be super heavy, super loaded down with a lot of sugar. We're getting a little bit of fruit. And again, all those benefits of the yogurt. So pretty. All right, so that is it. Recipe 1, how easy was that? That took like less than 5 minutes. So I'm gonna, hold on. I wanna hold, I'll do it here. I don't want this to slide off, so I wanna hold the parchment. So that's what we're looking at. So now we're gonna pop this into the freezer and it's gonna freeze at least 3 hours. You want it to be solid. And then, assuming that it's not too thick, you can just break it up like you would bark, or take a big chef's knife and sort of cut it. It's going to sort of crack as you're putting it into things, or as you're pressing the knife into it. And it gets into little odd shapes, just like bark. I think I want to blend the yogurt with frozen raspberries and then freeze it. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a really fun idea. And then you could still sprinkle chocolate chips on it or something else. Chocolate and raspberry, so good. Or you could leave the chocolate chips off. Yeah, blending the frozen fruit into the yogurt would be a nice idea. It'll make it a slightly different texture, so you don't want to overdo the fruit because the fruit's going to add some water in there and it might make it too hard. So just don't overdo the fruit, but I think that's a delicious, delicious sounding idea. So that is recipe 1, super, super easy. Now, on to recipe 2. So we have got, oh, all right, excuse, I have to get one spatula, hold on. I was thinking I was going to use the same one, but I already mixed that with maple syrup. Okay. Now, we are making, this is the one that'll blow your mind. Do you cover it before freezing? I don't, because I'm not leaving it in the freezer for an extended period of time like this. I just pop it in, I slide it right in. I want it level, so on top of some other boxes or things in the freezer. Let it freeze for a few hours. And then what I do is once it is frozen and I break it or cut it in pieces, I put it in like a Tupperware, a lock and lock, a reusable container and pop it in the freezer then. You do want to act quickly because it will thaw quickly. So if I were to, take it out of the freezer, break it up, take my time, put it in a container, it may thaw just enough to stick all together. So you basically want to just do it lickety split so it's still hard, solid, frozen when you put it in that resealable container so that all the pieces don't just become one solid piece. All right, so our super duper surprise fun recipe is going to be 2-ingredient pizza dough with yogurt as our base here. So this is really fun. So in my house, we make pizza every Saturday, like from scratch. I make the pizza dough, I make the pizza sauce. My husband used to work in a pizzeria, so he flips it. And so we are big pizza people. I am not going to fool you. This is not going to taste like a pizzeria pizza. It's a very different version of a crust, but delicious. I made it for my kids when they had, the remote learning for lunch once. And they just loved it. They each got their own pizza. So it was lots and lots of fun. And I thought it tasted really, really delicious. So with this, again, another purpose, another use for the plain whole milk yogurt. Another reason to get plain if you want to make these 2 recipes. You don't want to put, blueberry yogurt in your pizza dough. All right, so I just want to make precise in my measuring. All right, so we start with, so I'm calling this 2-ingredient pizza dough. There's actually going to be 2 extra ingredients, but I will explain why. So we start with our cup of plain Greek yogurt. The second ingredient we need is actually self-rising flour. If I had self-rising flour, that would make it 2 ingredients, but none of the stores I went to had self-rising flour. It's especially up here in the north, it's not always as easy to find. So for that reason, I have to make my own self-rising flour, which is very, very easy, but it makes this 2-ingredient pizza dough turn into 4-ingredient pizza dough. But we're still going to call it 2-ingredient because we're still just making flour. So the recipe calls for 2 cups of self-rising flour. To make self-rising flour, you basically need, for every cup of flour, you need 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So what we're going to do is just sort of dump all that in our bowl. So this is a 1/2 cup measure. So I'm going to do 4 of these. Here is now for this recipe, the way I'm doing this works perfectly. I actually make biscuits using self-rising flour. But what I do, because the biscuit dough tends to be very particular, I actually create the self-rising flour using these measurements. And then I measure out of that the 1.5 cups or whatever I need. of the self-rising flour. And when I do it that way, I end up having a little bit of self-rising flour left over because we are adding stuff. And I just save that for the next time I make biscuits and start with that and then add some more. And now, let's see. So because I'm making 2 cups of flour, of self-rising flour, in here is 2 cups of flour, and I'm adding 1, 2, I'm actually going to go with about 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder so I don't overdo it. But per cup of flour, you normally want about 1.5 teaspoons. And then we need, per cup of self-rising flour, we need a 1/4 cup, not a 1/4 cup, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. All right, so we're getting all of that out of our way. And now we just mix-a-roo, and that is our pizza dough. So I'm going to mix this together. You can do this on a floured surface. I am going to dump this out in a minute, but for me, it's just easier and less messy to get started in a bowl. So we're basically just stirring it together until it sort of starts to form a dough, and you'll see it because I'll dump it out on the counter here. All right, just sort of smash that yogurt into the flour. And honestly, had I would probably, in hindsight, because this is what I normally do, and I don't know why I didn't do it today, I would measure the flour and salt and baking powder first, mix that so it's well combined, and then add the yogurt. And I have not tried with gluten-free flour, but I have heard from many fellow dietitians who do eat gluten-free that they made it with gluten-free flour, and it was delicious. So yeah, gluten-free flour will work fine. All right, so we're just going to flour our surface a little bit here. Shaker. All right, so we flour the surface, and then we're just going to dump this out. Get all that dough. All right. So normally I would honestly do this with just my bare hands, but since I will be possibly touching the computer, I'm going to put on some gloves so we don't get dough all over it. This would be a great dessert pizza crust. Yeah, that's a great idea, because you know what it sort of smells to me like Bisquick. If you ever make Bisquick biscuits, it smells to me like the Bisquick sweet biscuits, which would be a delicious. Oh, what a good idea! Now I want to do that. This would be a perfect sweet sort of dessert pizza. Dessert pizza is so fun. All right, I need a little bit more flour. All right, and now we're just going to flour on me. We're just going to basically knead it around, not too much. We don't need to do a ton, just so it sort of isn't too sticky. We want it to be nice and smooth. See, there we go. And I've already got my 2 pans ready here, but we're gonna get to that in a minute. It's weird wearing gloves doing this. And you just add, if it stays too sticky, just keep adding a little bit more. More flour, flour your surface. I mean, you don't want to overwork and overflour it too much, but it's not, this isn't, pie crust we're working with where it's going to be super affected by that. All right, so now it is starting to come together. or not be as sticky, I should say. Okay. Flour everywhere. And now we're just going to, I also forgot to get a knife, but we're just going to divide this into roughly 2 equal pieces and roll it out. I'm going to move one over here. I'm going to take this one here. Little more flour. Put some flour underneath because we don't want it to stick. And that is why I floured everything. Okay. And we just want to roll this into roughly 10-inch shape. I'm not going to say circle because this is a very free form kind of pizza dough. You know, it looks more rustic. It looks homemade that way. I was actually going to give this to my kids when they got home from school as a snack, but now you got me thinking dessert pizza. So I don't know. They may be out of luck for an after-school pizza snack. It's not going to be huge. It's not, this is not, you know, the pizza to feed the whole family. But that's why it's great for a quick lunch. We are going to make 2 pizzas. So it's enough for a couple people. When I make it for my kids, between the 3 of us, we basically eat it all. All right, now we keep our fingers crossed that I can get it up. Oh, I forgot my bench scraper. It's not, there we go. It's only stuck in one little spot. So we just stick our hands under there. And this is why we do the well flouring of the surface. There we go. All right, here we go. I'm gonna, woo! Oh, all right, we're gonna move it up here. We can see it that great. That with it. So it's nice. It mostly worked. I think the rubber gloves are not really helping me. But this is basically it. Like I said, very free form. You don't want to, it's not going to stretch like a pizza dough. But there we go. This is not as pretty as I usually make it. But all we do now, I will roll out the next one. What we do now is we just bake this. Well, we top it. So whatever kinds of toppings you like, can do a tomato sauce, can do a white sauce, your cheeses, make a BLT pizza, taco pizza, whatever you like with it. 450 until it's golden, about 8 to 10 minutes, and you've got pizza. I think what I might want to do, well, no, we'll just, let's see, we'll get some more flour. I think my flour shaker is puts here, and we will go to work on number 2. That's better. We're just, oh, this one's looking a little bit better. I got some sticky spots on my rolling pin. So normally do this standing up, so that's a bit weird. So what do you guys think? Who's ready for 2 ingredient / 4 ingredient pizza? All right, this one might hold its shape a little bit better. What? Oh, it's almost a heart shape. Yeah, this is awesome. I know lots of people who've made this, and like I said, it's not, it's not going to give you the Pizza Hut thin and crispy. It's not going to give you Chicago deep dish pizza, but regardless, it is really good. I mean, I liked it. And my kids liked it. Okay, let's see if I did a better job with this one. You know, I don't know if you can freeze this dough. I've not tried that. I don't know why you couldn't, but what I would probably do is I would sort of, if I were going to freeze it, I would shape it, or, you know, shaping here, rolling out. Oh, this one's nice. There we go. I would probably roll it out and freeze it on my cookie sheet. I don't think the big ball of it would freeze very well. But honestly, like I said, it's so, I mean, you saw how quick I did that. I don't even know that you would need to freeze it. I mean, that's, so this one, let's get close here. That one's looking mighty good. So that is basically it. Like I said, I am going to top these with some sauce, some cheeses, whatever toppings we have in the house, and we got pizza. Is there no toppings the same amount of time? Yeah, I would say so. You're basically just cooking it until it's sort of golden brown. So it's definitely 450. You know, start on the lower end, start with maybe 7 minutes. But I mean, I guess the topping would slow down the cooking a little bit because of that moisture. So yeah, maybe start at 6 minutes and see what it looks like, and just keep cooking till it's golden brown. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, she's asking about that fruit pizza thing. Yeah, exactly. I would totally cook it and do the, oh gosh, I just did a fruit pizza for a demo recently. And you know what we used instead of cream cheese? And it was absolutely delicious. We used vanilla Greek yogurt. And specifically, only because I love this kind, I used Cabot vanilla bean Greek yogurt, which is really, really delicious. Again, yeah, it's got the added sugar because it's a flavored yogurt, but when you're comparing it to the cream cheese, it's better. But that was delicious on the fruit pizza. And then, yeah, with the fruit cut up on it. So yeah, I think one of these is going to have to be a fruit pizza now. Got to see. Oh, I've got strawberries in the house and chocolate chips. So, all right, but that is basically it. Do you guys have? I'm covered with flour. Do you guys have any questions or other comments? I've loved these comments so far. Good ideas for the fruit pizza. What do you think? If there are no comments and no questions, you're free to go and get on with your day. We're done doing our little demo here. But I hope you guys liked it. Do you bake the dough? Yeah, so I've never done the fruit pizza, but yeah, I would bake it first because normally fruit pizzas don't get baked. So I would bake the dough first and then put whether it's the cream cheese mixture or the vanilla Greek yogurt and then your fruit. So yeah, that would be so. It's almost this is almost I want to say like a biscuity kind of pizza dough, but maybe not so much. All right. You are very, very welcome. I thank you for the idea of the fruit pizza because that just gave me a whole other idea. I'm glad this one did come out a little bit better. So don't be stingy on the flour when you're rolling it out. I forgot that from the last time we made it. I just sort of kept dumping on the flour. Well, good. I'm glad you had a fun and relaxing break and now something to look forward to. So I will be going to put some things in the oven, some things in the freezer, and I get to clean up my mess now. So everybody have a great day. And yeah, I guess that's it.